Good morning, everyone. I'm a data engineer in the FinOps team at Warfield Services. So for those who may not be familiar with us, Warfield is a global provider of aviation, marine, and land-based transportation fuels and related services. We operate in over 200 countries and territories, and we support customers at more than 8,000 locations worldwide. So from a technology and FinOps perspective, we operate at significant scale. We support more than 60 IT team units, which then are grouped into broader domains. Each team typically consists of multiple developers, engineers, working across multiple environments and always critical on workloads. As an organization, Warfield has approximately more than 4,000 global employees, with a technology footprint that basically supports a highly distributed business. Today, I will be walking you through how we run FinOps at scale with a small team, especially how our FinOps cycle helps us create visibility, accountability, and proactive cost management across a large and complex IT organization. So last year, I was sitting right there, so listening, absorbing, and learning from each of you. I still remember that some of my favorite sessions were Nubank, Reddit, and Starbucks. At that time, our FinOps team had approximately 5 people. And if I ask you to guess how many do we have today, it's actually even fewer. So I started my career as a business analyst, which put me very close to leadership pain points. I needed what needed to be changed, but without the right set of permission, it was really frustrating for me. So I made the change in 2025 to move into the engineering. And that shifted completely how I approach data, engineer, and leadership. Maybe it's my analytical background, and I joke with my team that I have a little bit of FinOps OCD, but I'm the person in the team who needs a structure, tags, colors, dimensions. I want order and clarity in how we work. And that's exactly how FinOps became the perfect challenge for me. It sits in the intersection within engineering, finance, strategy, communication, all at once. So today's goal is very simple. I want you to live with a 30-day FinOps operating cycle you can apply the moment you go back to your organization. So our starting point wasn't glamorous. We had 1 FinOps lead, 2 engineers, 1 finance partner, and myself. And an entire organization needing clarity, forecasting, accountability. We were learning the cloud while also trying to explain it. Amortized costs, unblended costs, commitments, anomalies, everything. We were holding the cloud roof with one hand and basically trying to build reporting with the other one. So you can see how security, they were just my neighbors back then, my ITSM team, they were workflows enablement, but they were not working very close with us. And a whole app dev community being accountable for their spend, but didn't even know where to start. Finance was taking more on the IT reporting side, and procurement, they were very far away from where they are today with us. So currently, we are 3 engineers supporting a large enterprise cloud footprint. You can see how security started using our tools for third-party risk assessments, how ITSM, they help us to accelerate our workflows. A whole app dev community, they've not only been accountable for their spend, but also help us in production environments, workloads, and ourselves, we were stopped being called cloud cops and also leveraging our capacity as a team to help them in testing environments and lower environments. We took most of the reporting from finance. We know what our IT team's working on. We know the initiative. We know the impact, and we can translate that into cost amortized metrics that we basically report to CIO leadership. And the reason we can do this is because we run FinOps on a cycle, not on chaos. So our FinOps cycle, that's how I call it, consists of 3 phases. Phase number 1 is just the first 10 days of every month. Phase number 2, the next 10 other days, and the phase 3, the 3 last days of every month. And that, again, depends of how many days does your month has. I know some of you might go crazy whenever you see a cost spike and then you see a daily rate, which is it starts like 40K per day, and then you report back to your CIO team, like, why is this a spike? Hey, we have one more day. We have just one more day. Yeah, and we also have an all-month phase, which I call BAU, automations, and cost spikes. So phase number one, it's gonna be called reconciliation and reporting. Just the last first days. So the first 5 days are very, very critical for us. The bill needs to stabilize, credits needs to be applied, savings plans need to be amortized, refunds needs to be settled. What happens behind the scene is just we're basically taking a lot of raw data, normalize it, and map it to different business units. We then use different cost metrics depending on different personas. So for example, we take amortized costs for showback and unblended when finance needs cash timing. We also have many different mapping layers that turns cloud resources into business objects. And that also vary based on the persona that we are referring to. Around the same time, we compare our spend against a 3-month baseline to capture real trends. So we try to analyze service level changes, EC2, RDS, different type of service based on our cloud providers. We also try to analyze environment level changes. Why are we paying more in testing environments, non-production environment resource, when our production resources are not giving us the full value? Region changes. Why do we have resources in regions where we don't even have operations? So commitment coverage, utilizations, did we over or under commit? And performance versus savings patterns. Did we over or under utilize our savings patterns? These are some of the things we try to analyze in this phase. If I ask you here to raise your hand if you receive an email every month from a leadership team asking you, hey, what happened to my cost? How many of you will raise your hand? Well, this phase basically tried to eliminate that email entirely. And not everyone is the same story. We try to deliver tailored narratives. So we have persona-based reporting. Leaders, what do you care? You might care about your spend across your variances, across your top services. Finance, they might care a little bit more around their amortized costs versus those budgets that they have in place. And service categories is something that we call internally service categories, which is the high-level picture. Finance might not care a little bit about the granular picture, an EC2, an RDS, machine type of resource. They might care how much are we spending on compute, on storage, on machine learning, AI. Do not go so granular with finance. The app dev community, they might care a little bit more about their impact, those initiatives they're tackling are having, root cause analysis, and also optimizations opportunities. Can we leverage their capacity in order to accomplish more optimization work? Procurement, they care more about the commitment versus those usage, and SaaS utilization, which has been a huge topic for us this year. And renewal readiness. How can they leverage FinOps in order to accomplish better negotiation process and all the data that we provide to them? We also send one email to leadership, finance, procurement that removes, I will say, 80% of follow-up questions. And it includes total spend, month-to-month variances, top cost drivers, risk, opportunity summaries, and attachments with breakdowns and justification logs. And of course, my favorite one, our FinOps newsletter. Internally, we built a brand around FinOps, which I call Penny the Fox. Not as a joke, but as a way to make cloud costs visible, consistent, and approachable. So this newsletter includes top spender, shout-outs to proactive teams, opportunities identified, upcoming increases, best practices, and even learning resources from the FinOps Foundation. It builds culture, and culture drives FinOps maturity. You can see how our mascot here dressed based on every month theme. So January, very cold in Miami, to be honest, and then we had Valentine's back in February, so yes. And every month is a different type of narrative, which it also go very deep into why do we have these cost spikes or opportunities identified and what's gonna come in the following days. Phase number 2, it's called ticketing and initiatives. So we sit down with teams and review anomalies, optimizations, opportunities, right-sizing, decommissions, migrations, let's us to Graviton, and even recommendations that are aligned with their roadmaps. We decide what moves forward and what gets snoozed. Of course, we try to document those reasons. And I said to my team, every decision needs to have an owner, otherwise it's not trackable. We need to include expected savings, delivery time cycles, all of that into those type of tickets. Then we start engaging our multiple stakeholders, engineering teams, product teams, who can we leverage that will accelerate these cross-functional review initiatives. And of course, ITSM team, and the reason the last persona we have here in the slide deck is the FinOps practitioner. When I was starting this journey, I tried to do some sort of like one-to-one mapping the moment I went back to my organization, such as you are the engineering persona, you're the procurement persona, you're the finance persona, who's the FinOps practitioner persona? Doesn't work like that. We're all FinOps practitioners. So during this time, we also try to organize and work on our FinOps initiative based on our FinOps principles. So you can think about initiatives similar to scopes. Since we're a small team, we try to divide and conquer. So for today's example, let's say I'm taking 2 initiatives. I'm taking optimizing name of a service. It can be an easy tool. I will make sure to include a health status next to my initiative. Is it done? Is it in progress? Am I blocked? And which are the comments? Where am I currently on that initiative? Hey, this bucket of optimization just save us this amount of amortized cost for this quarter, and that's been done. So trackable savings. In the meantime, I also took our BAU bucket. You can see how the BAU bucket is just linked to a quarter, and that bucket includes just day-to-day operations and enhancements. What can we do better with our current tools? Which enhancements are we missing? Which are other customers doing that we're missing out? In the meantime, my other engineer might be taking 2 other initiatives, another type of service, but he's currently measuring the effort across the savings in order to execute that work. I assume maybe a lot of you might encounter many different scenarios where, yes, the savings might be a couple thousands, but just to execute the work might take like a little bit more than 2 quarters. So is it really worth the effort? Let's try to close that initiative before we even start the work. In the meantime, he's also taking another type of initiative, which I call, for today's session, AI cost visibility. So under that bucket, he's asking questions to our team. Hey, can we automate our AI cost visibility? Do we have guardrails in place? Do we need a set of new tax strategy? Do we need to include another type of persona in order to accomplish this work? And finally, my last engineer, who is just taking, let's just say, one initiative that is called FinOps automation. We already have some automations in place, but something that I'm very proactive is to bring more automations into the team in order so we can focus on strategic alignment, things that might need more of our time. So that bucket is just expanding the scope of our current automations. And our initiative steps roll over into the last phase, which is phase number 3. During this phase, we work on the initiatives, but we try to make sure they are tied to the FinOps capabilities. And this is internally in our team. I feel it's really important for us just being honest in the work that we do. Why do we do the things we do every day? Why are we working on these optimizations? Why are we building reporting? Why do we care about the AI? All of these conversations come in place when we're tackling the FinOps capabilities. For example, you can see how I linked training and enablement, SaaS, anomaly detection into the BAU bucket. something that we try to incorporate this year is like, hey, let's start training the new people that is coming to our organization, because not everyone knows what's FinOps about. So let's try to enable more trainings about the FinOps organization or our FinOps related tools. We also have cost-anomaly spike that goes into the BAU bucket. Our current anomaly detection is part of our Kanban. So whenever something is not a break fix and takes more time, we try to allocate that work into that bucket. And also SaaS enablement, which when I was building this initiatives deck was not one of our initiatives, but SaaS 100% must be a separate initiative. It cannot be treated as a BAU related work or something that you can put in your backlog. So then also each initiative needs to specify the impacted stakeholders. And that's also super important, so you can try to tackle that priority process before you run out of time. For example, I have for initiative number 2, when we were discussing about measuring the effort across the savings, we might need other teams engaged. So let's just try tackling and making sure those product app dev community are linked to that initiative. Also, for AI cost visibility, I feel that a good stakeholder that might be linked to that one might be our ITSM team. Those are workflows enablements, and with smart forms, definitely they can help you to accelerate those cleanups and those requests that you will have. And lastly, our all month around phase, which I call BAU, automations, and spikes. Our intake form captures cost report requests, budget updates. We also have tagging issues, optimization requests, and others. Others can go crazy, believe me. In that intake form, you need to specify your manager, if someone needs access to a tool, of course, the business unit that is impacted, and also description. Feel free to add every details that you want for us. This protects engineering times and also keeps the work structured. And once a ticket is created, it will go directly to our queue. We also have an anomaly pipeline that is integrated with Jira, so the moment a spend exceeds a threshold, a ticket is generated. That ticket usually includes accounts, service, delta amount, historical context, who are the owners, link to dashboards. This eliminates blind spots and gives us the ability to log in with read-only permissions into team units accounts. This has been, to be honest, one of my favorite enhancements to the teams. I used to have a lot of back and forth between multiple app teams. Hey, I see this through my console, and they were just freaking out. What are you seeing? What did I do? I was like, you didn't do anything. I'm just seeing a cost spike. Now with read-only permissions, just like logging into a console, see the spike. Okay, they were acquiring new volumes. Why? Okay, it looks like we are working on an M&A migration. Makes sense. Or different scenarios like that. Of course, a ticket is generated, and it will go to our FinOps queue. We also have guardrails and policies in place, and we enforce them through automations. Some of them are delete unattached EVS volumes, of course. And what does this guardrail policy do is identifies the EVS volumes that are not attached to any EC2 instance and are safely removed them after validation. This is what some of the engineers might call these breadcrumbs. Oh, do you mean those breadcrumbs? And I was like, yes, can you delete them? We don't need that. So, enforce tagging resources. We have a set of standardized taggings thanks to our governance teams. So the set of tag includes cost, owner, applications, business unit impacted. Basically, inconsistent tagging currently limit cost allocation accuracy. And finally, auto-modify misconfigured resources when safe. It's just to correct common misconfigurations, let's say public access if needed, oversized resources based on different policy rules. We have the visibility to see the health status of each of these guardrails and policies, and let's remember that guardrails allow us to focus on our FinOps initiatives not on manual cleanups. So policies, again, deleting resources, guardrails, think about modifying resources. And of course, a ticket is generated if something happened with our automations that are in place, and it will go to our FinOps queue. And that's our FinOps cycle. When you run FinOps in phases, FinOps stops being reactive. It becomes predictable, it becomes measurable, and it becomes sustainable. And yes, this impact is possible even with a small team. If you look at how I divided my month into 3 focus areas, you can imagine how that cycle scaled with just 2 additional team members, which is our t-shirt size right now. And how our team is distributed across, how our time is distributed across the team. I always says to new members and people who ask us about the FinOps foundation of the company that our FinOps persona is not purely engineering-based. It's someone proactively, constantly looking for new initiatives, new innovation projects, and better ways of working. It's about doing more with less, or more importantly, doing more with the right team. There are things that simply were not possible before. One example is SaaS spend optimization. So we have also significantly improved in how we report to the IT CIO leadership team, because FinOps lives within IT. We understand what teams are working on, what initiatives are driving, and we translate that into meaningful cost metrics. This process has become some sort of a new way of working, and when we know what will be important every month, we can automate the creation of those requests before they even reach us. And that's honestly my favorite part. So before you leave to your next session, I'm just gonna deliver what I promised. This is your step-by-step guide. So 6 topics here. The first topic is a centralized team. I want you to leave this place and build a centralized FinOps team. Make it official, because when we were starting out, it was not even official. So partner tightly with finance, engineer, even procurement and leadership. Try to secure data sponsorship and surface the real pain points. And document your baseline, because believe me, people will ask you in a year, where were you guys 6 months before that? The second topic is cadences. Establish clear, repeatable cadence, and define deadlines and communicate why they matter. And invest in enablement so your engineers feel empowered, owning cost decisions, and identify themselves as FinOps practitioners. So ask yourself, are your meetings really driving actions or just reporting? And are deadlines clear and respected? And do your engineers feel empowered when to act on cost data? The third topic is initiative. Focus on your big initiatives that move the needle. So prioritize your high impact savings tied to your portfolio goals. Support your application teams and ask yourself which applications or which environments matter the most before you start that journey. And are we helping teams when it hurts the most? Fourth topic is automations. Use POCs, ADRs, discoveries, you name it, to target the largest automations opportunities with the biggest savings. Try to reduce your manual cleanup so the team can focus on a strategic optimization instead of BAU requests. So what are we doing repeatedly? And what can we scale through automations? And are we spending time on low-value tasks? ITSM, which is something that I feel is underrated, try to leverage that team to accelerate your FinOps workflows. Try to standardize intake with smart forms so you can identify repeatable requests that goes to your queue. And streamline your approvals to reduce frictions and improve delivery speed for both FinOps and engineer. So what requests do we have often, and can we standardize them? And are your approvals slowing savings down? And finally, just think ahead, continuously assess yourself on this FinOps journey. Where are we today? How mature are we really? And what does good look like in 1 year? What needs to change now to get there? And think about the new executive strategy alignment capability that was added to the FinOps framework as part of the Think Ahead topic. And finally, our next priorities, workflow. This slide outlines where we see the biggest opportunities to evolve our FinOps practice, not just operationally, but strategically. These are practical next steps that help us scale, increase accountability, and stay ahead as the business grows. The first topic will be, of course, AI visibility, AI cost visibility. So AI adoption is growing fast, but with that comes new cost patterns. Our goal here is to bring AI spend fully into the FinOps scope. That means giving executive visibility, allowing them to define threshold, and making leaders accountable for usage and spend. A key enabler for this will be a clear tagging strategy so AI-related costs do not get lost in the noise. A new allocation process. So today, we typically onboard new business units once they ask. What we want to move towards is more into a proactive onboarding model, so where new BAUs are captured before those consumptions starts. I feel this will reduce a lot of rework, improve accuracy, of course, and give us better cost transparency from day one. SaaS spend allocation. Historically, we have focused on large SaaS tools that move the needle. And that's still important, yes. But we're seeing value in expanding our scope to include smaller SaaS and incremental cost. These breadcrumbs add up over time, and addressing them early help us hidden spend from becoming a bigger issue later. Expand the FinOps scope. FinOps do not have to end in cloud, in SaaS. There is a key opportunity for us to start taking on telecom, circuits lines, hybrid resources. All of that will be beyond cloud. The source of truth might be my favorite one, to be honest. This topic includes strengthening our source of truth. So instead of exporting data out of our cloud providers, can and clean it and normalize it and then build logics on top of that. Why not using our internal tools to accomplish this? This also supports a stronger cost avoidance tracking and give us a better cost transparency with leadership. And finally, think ahead. Try to invest in certifications, train new members that are going to your organization workforce, and something that we want is also to expand the core team. Stay on top of current FinOps research and try to partner early with architects so you embed FinOps before the execution of the work starts. And that's it. Those were our priorities, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. What type of automations have you been able to make using AI tools or others to streamline your services and get away from repetitive BAU tasks?
Automations, right now, the ones that we build using AI will be more around SaaS. The set core of automations that we built last year, it was around our cloud. So the ones that I shared, like unattached EBS volumes, delete set of resources that do not have the set of tags that we want. It will be more around SaaS, more on the user license management across SaaS. So connecting our employee roster, with all of the SaaS applications and cross-checking that says, why are we paying for licenses for users that do no longer belong to our company? those are most of the automations that we have built with AI right now.
I was wondering if you could describe a little bit on your cadences that you have so that it's not just merely reporting, but driving action. And how do you manage many cadences? Because we have like 18 cadences with different groups in our company, which winds up being a lot of time in a month.
Yeah. So when you say 18 cadences, will be 18 cadences inside of the FinOps team or out?
So 18, we have a cadence with every business unit.
Okay, okay. So that's also part of engineering capacity. So for example, something that I got to see when I got into my role is that different business units are tracking different things. So for example, we have Oracle teams that are most likely to get RIs, like being involved into RI conversations, so we try to partner tightly with them. But I will say just try to focus on the big needle movers. So Oracle will be a big thing for us. Also, our governance teams, when it comes to more automations in place, so cadences with them. We also have some sort of like space, which we call guild, is every 2 weeks, where everyone from the IT community is invited there, and we try also to tackle work and get participation from them and leverage their capacity if there is work available to work on lower environments or production environments that we cannot even touch. We leverage their capacity in those forums.
Thank you.
Great talk, Isabella. Quick question. As you set out to do these things, you would have set out with some value expectations for each of your initiatives. What has held true, and what is maybe one thing that you would do differently or are doing differently now?
I feel something that we have, that it was a major shift for us. It was taking on the reporting from finance, to be honest. Finance was doing most of the IT reporting, and is that trust that finance, procurement, your leadership needs to give the FinOps team, because something that we try to do every month is like we try to allocate every single 1,000 spike that we have, or even savings that we have. Let's say if our bills are coming with spikes that are, just giving a random number, 50K. Hey, why are we having 50K spike this month? I already have all that breakdown for you. Every single 1,000. This team, this business unit impacted, this other one, they're working on this, we're tracking this one. Tickets are created and ownership is already established for the team, like workflow.
Oh, you got something from finance's hands? Like ours won't let them till they're cold and dead. Hold on, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Can you toss it here to the gentleman in blue? Yeah. Oh, Thank you.
Hi, thank you. Quick question about your procurement team. What things do they do for you that add value to your team? And I want to preface, I'm probably the one guy here that is from procurement.
Yeah.
So if you're all laughing, I understand why.
Our procurement team, I will say, is pretty small, first of all. Very, very small. But we have made, we have a third-party tool that we use for all of the SaaS ingestion. So we use that tool for like our inventory. We try to tackle opportunities that has to do not only with user license management type of scenarios, but also usage-based. So of course, their wins are the negotiation, everything that happens whenever they use our data. So those are our wins, definitely. Whenever they tackle a negotiation process where they leverage our FinOps tool, it's a win also for us. So, and that's a feedback that we received whenever they tackle those big renewals that are coming up every quarter, definitely. What I can see happening now is that we have always focusing on the SaaS that lives within IT, and now we have done like a really good job this year, so it's just like expanding outside of IT. So that's also like a cultural change that might come for us, leveraging those conversations outside of IT.
I really liked what you said about thinking about what does good look like a year from now. That was very. My question for you is, when you're running a small and lean team, how do you think about keep the lights on type work that needs to happen, right? And simultaneously expanding scope and trying to do more? How do you manage that? Especially we live in a time today where we're all expected to do more with less. Teams are getting leaner and leaner, but our scope is also getting wider. So what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah. Try to, something that we have done in the past is to have some set of champions within different business units. So those champions might be also helping you to accomplish a strategic work. So your core team needs to keep doing the BAU work. You guys need to be working on the lights on. That's non-negotiable. Like, leave everything else, priorities, fund development work. You need to focus on yours, but try to leverage other teams' capacity. So some sort of like a champions program. That's why I said we have guild sessions. We call them like cost guild sessions, where we explain a little bit around FinOps, their FinOps foundation, what are they doing, and try to promote that so you can also leverage other teams' capacity. Also, tied very with the AI team. They might be also you guys might be also working on the same outcomes, and you didn't even know. So just like not working on those silos.
Any more questions? Yeah. Ma'am, can you toss it here?
Toss?
Yeah. Let's do. Yeah, that's great.
Hi, thank you very much. First of all, you mentioned that you managed to have these persona-based reporting. First of all of these reportings are live reportings or is like periodical?
Both. We have live reporting, yes. We have a tool where everyone can just log in, see the reporting based on their business units, play with the filters. That's definitely there. But we have also many leaders who just wants the high-level picture. They're like, hey, I don't want to navigate multiple dashboards. I don't want to like play with my filters and then make my own conclusions. Give me my top 5. Why are we having those spikes? And that's still being done manually. That's why I said like we send those high-level summaries emails, I would say like every month. And we also have a committee meeting where we have every leader from every business unit, and we said like, hey, high-level picture, this is the homework for you. This is for you. Be aware of this. This is happening. So, yeah, so both.
Okay, that's great. Yeah. And just like another additional question regarding tagging.
Yes.
You mentioned like the tagging, you guys have managed it like, I want to know like, do you have the split between mandatory tagging and non-mandatory tagging?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we have those in place. So we have a set of mandatory tags. Engineers cannot create new resources if those mandatory tags are not in place. Definitely, that's a huge game changer. But you will also encounter in your FinOps team this term that is called taxonomy. That will go more in depth when you want to show back when you have use cases of shared resources. So multiple teams have multiple resources in just one account. So how do you showcase back? That's not a set of tags. So it's building your taxonomy. So you have your mandatory tags, and then you have your resources linked to those tags, and then you create some sort of like a second layer, which it will be like taking, let's say, just the application owner, and then just the application owner, and then the other one is a owner tag. And the owner tag can be like a team email. Based on all of that logic, you build your like taxonomy.
Taxonomy, yeah. And you did not have any data quality issue?
Data quality?
In tagging.
Tagging?
Like for instance, if you are talking about like the cost center.
Yes.
And then someone has put it like garbage in it, or like,
Yes.
so what do you do?
We have the automation, like the cleanups, the ones that
Okay.
basically if something like that happens, it's just like it will be deleted immediately.
Okay,
It will be deleted.
awesome,
Yeah.
thank you, thank you.
And make sure that when you're building those type of automations, do not forget the tags in place, because you don't want to build automations that will help you to do cleanups, and then leadership might be asking you like, hey, how much did we save by building these automations? And you can not even track the automations because you didn't set taggings on them. So
Yeah, having
learnings.
these challenges.
Yes, the learnings.
Thank you, thank you.
Yes.
Nice. I was curious with your expansion to like looking ahead, your priorities at SaaS, telephony, and network. Is that something that you find yourself pushing into your leadership to show the value of FinOps and expanding it, or that the direction comes down that based on the work they've seen, they want to apply those and learn more about SaaS and these other?
Yes, basically it came from top off to us. So leadership already, we started just cloud. We're no longer on-prem. We don't have on-prem resources. We started with cloud, optimize fully cloud, build the automations. Whenever someone from any other team asks me like, why do we still keep doing FinOps in cloud? It's like, you guys have optimized everything. And I said to one of my colleagues, like, you know, I feel like I'm taking a towel. We have bunch of water, and when we were beginning, like, bunch of water came, and now it's just like little drops. So we expanded the scope. Okay, let's take SaaS. And SaaS, we learned a lot about procurement, by the way, how they tackle each of the renewal processes, user license-based, capacity models, like it's a whole learning curve that you will have in those. We did the unit of economics around SaaS, and now we're just taking ownership of on-prem, hybrid resources, circuits, telecom lines. That was being done through a third-party vendor that we have. And we also want to manage the visibility of that data. We don't want to deal with, let's say, me tackling something that is not working related to circuits, like a back and forth between the vendor. We want to have fully access to the data. That's how we're doing everything right now. And that's a model that had helped us and just like expanding. And also expanding outside of IT, because, I mean, network's still within IT, but now it's another conversation outside.
We can take one more question. Can you toss the cube there? Yep. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. Very interesting. I'm curious about how you handle the reporting aspect of cost optimization achievements. So, especially in the cloud landscape that can be quite dynamic. I think a lot of things that are taking place from a cost optimization perspective can be hidden from the bill. Do you have any type of reporting processes, especially at scale, to quantify whatever is being done by all of these different teams and just getting that visibility?
Yeah, so we have, for example, just as a high level example, the newsletter that we built. That's something that we share every month, and that newsletter needs to specify opportunities identified. That's a section that we call like that. So it basically is a narrative to the engineering teams, like, hey, by the way, we have these $1,000 outstanding and right sizing recommendation. This is like the how to do the work, and we have built the how-tos already in the past, or like outstanding the commissions. That's what we call as quick wins here. Those are things that we also try to include into that narratives as a a friendly setup whenever we tackle the app dev community. But we also share those insights with leadership, and we have those. We have that visibility through the main cloud provider. Try to leverage, again, like Cost Explorer, the billing details. It's there. All of the insights are there. And also building cost anomaly detection on top of that will give you more.
Thank you.
All right, give it up for Isabella. Yoo-hoo! Thank you so much.
Hey everyone, producer Andrew here. Thanks for watching. Check out the rest of our channel for more FinOps content. Like, subscribe, and leave questions and comments for our speakers. We appreciate your support.